Alright, what's good everybody, 734 here. Today we got some more MX versus ATV Legends, and we got a bit of a different video, and I know I've said that exact phrase at the start of every video for the past 3 videos, but we do have a different video today, man. I'm going to be talking about just how good I feel like this game really is, and how far it's come from launch. The reason I'm doing this is because, you know, a lot of people still shit on this game, bro. Like, a lot of people still, you know, treat the game as if it's the exact same when it came out, and it is such a different game, bro. I remember when I first played this game, it was, like, literally laughable. I literally played the trial because I didn't even want to buy it. I played the 2-hour trial because I had PlayStation Premium. And so instead of buying it, I was just like, whatever, I'll play the trial, and I was just like, there's no way. I played the 2 hours, and I was just like, there's no way I'm buying this shit. And then eventually it went on discount. I think I got, like, the 2022 Pro Track Pass and this game, like, for cheap. And I was like, you know what, I'll play it. You know, at the time I was uploading just like, you know, basic Supercross 6 videos, but this game pulled me straight out of that and just pulled me right back into MX vs. ATV and this whole universe, bro. Like, I've been going back and playing the old MX vs. ATV games on this PlayStation Premium stream thing. And it's just been really fun, bro. Like, it just really revived, I feel like, the motocross video game community a little bit, especially on console. You know, we were dead out of, you know, good motocross video games. Supercross 5 and 6 were just off the fucking, you know, those games were just absolutely bad and just not fun. They were dead. You know, there's already no DLC that's come out for Supercross 6. If I'm correct on that, I don't think I'm wrong, but it's crazy that those games have died off. You know, MXGP hasn't released a game in 2 years or something like that. 2021 was their last one, so it's just been fucking insane to see what's happened. And, you know, I'm glad that, you know, at least there is still one, you know, remaining, you know, competitor on console. And, you know, MX versus ATV, they've always been solid. I feel like it's just when you get those games like Sim and Bikes, it just puts a lot of pressure on these companies to make, you know, insanely good, you know, or realistic games. But that's never really been what MX versus ATV is about. And so I think that's kind of like the most important thing to remember when reviewing these games. So the main thing that's really changed in this game is the physics, or at least I feel like that's what's had the biggest change. I hopped on here on Supercross simply because I feel like this is where the changes of the physics are most notable at. When I played Supercross at the beginning of this year, you know, this bike was so bouncy. It really felt like any time, you know, you hit the ground to any degree, your bike would just smack back up into the ground 5-10 feet. Like, it was kind of crazy and just kind of comical at first. It was very weird and awkward, and it was so easy to just, you know, when you're in a rhythm section, you're just going to bounce around and bounce right out. Now, obviously, there is some skill level to, like, all of this, especially when it comes to physics. But just the base physics of the game, I don't think anyone was praising them at all. It was really a disaster. It was kind of like a hot air balloon, man. Like, it was just super bouncy. Like, it literally felt like I was just floating all over the track. You would smack the ground and just fly all over the place. It was just very weird. I believe the first physics update actually was to fix the bounciness of the bike, along with, like, some braking stuff and just some steering overall. You know, the bike felt very just not stable and just bouncy, and it just felt like you didn't really have that much control over your guy and your rider. It felt very just awkward. And along with physics, rider animations have changed a lot as well. You know, the guy used to sit very awkward and very just stiff on top of the bike. He used to not do very much, and he just used to not react to anything you did, like over jumping or doing that at all. You know, the rider animations have changed a lot. Now, even if you accelerate on a jump too hard, or you don't hit a jump, you know, too evenly when you take off, you're going to get an animation and you're going to get slowed down. So there is a lot of stuff like that, especially if you have Pro Physics on, which I don't. Pro Physics aren't necessarily faster, but they are, you know, they do provide a more realistic experience to some degree. It makes it a little bit harder as well. But I think overall in general, you know, I'm not trying to say the game is realistic. That would be stupid. But I think they have, you know, to some degree gone more in that direction. You know, at least, you know, graphically, and, you know, to make the game seem a little more grounded in reality than, you know, the past few installations might have been. Now, I think another thing that was really good for this game was the UI update in Season 2. It was kind of a random update and not something I expected to get updated. But it has made the game a lot easier to navigate through. It's less glitchy, and, you know, things save, and it's like you don't have to, like, constantly be changing shit over and back, and it doesn't glitch and reset as much, and it's just a lot more smoother AI, and I feel like that's just something I needed to throw in there, because it's a, you know, small update, but it is something that, you know, really helps a lot. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is track selection. When it comes to track selection, at least at the start of the game, you know, there were, you know, a decent amount of options. You know, we had Rawlings Hill, all the way to Big West, I believe. Those were an overlook. Those were all of the tracks we had in the game, at least for nationals. For Supercross, of course, we had, Rawlings Field and the Amateur all the way down here to Vegas. And the DLCs have added in a lot more as well. We've got the Supercross World Tour tracks right here. We've got the National 2023 and 2022 with some 2021 tracks. So in terms of nationals, the track list has grown probably almost double, probably at least double. And then for Supercross, it's gotten a few. I do think they need to really, give us some throwback Supercross tracks because, damn, bro, there's a few reflex tracks I want. There's a couple untamed, unleashed tracks I want. So it's going to be crazy to see what they do with that. And they've also given us Sleigh Ground from Axel Hodges. Pretty dope. It's one of the most unique things they've had in the MX versus ATV game, especially for free ride. They even have a national version of this track. I believe it's called Axle Breaker and Sleigh Ride. And while we're on to the more like cosmetic stuff, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the gear updates. Now, there was a pathetic amount of gear in this game when it first launched. There was barely anything. There was probably 15 at the most. Probably not even that. That's probably like too generous. But probably 12, 15 at the most. But I think these were like the first big ones they've added in. That made people go like, oh shit, they're actually gonna like start adding shit into this game. We've gotten these recently with the Alpine Star and the polka dots. We've got fly racing stuff. I believe this FXR stuff has also been added into the game post-release as well. I think a lot of the customizable stuff is the stuff that has been added into the game post-release, simply because they didn't want to simply because they probably couldn't add in like a bunch of different versions of the jersey, so they just made it like one version and made it customizable, which is honestly kind of smart because it makes one piece of gear pretty versatile, and you can do a lot of different stuff with different brands of bikes, and stuff like that. We got the OEM bikes. Obviously have to touch on that. Probably, if I'm being honest, probably the most popular DLC item in MX versus ATV. Every year, just simply because who's not gonna, who wants to ride on on the Phoenix or whatever the hell they call the bikes? They're really weird and it's awkward names, so I understand why people shell money out for this. I do it at multiple brands, and of course I have to touch on the OEM bikes, the Honda, the Kawasaki's, all of this stuff as well. Most bikes are 2021, some are 2022. I think just the Yamaha are 2022, but they have some random years from the two strokes and the quads, but for the most part, recent bikes. I believe the Suzuki's are 2020, and I just turned on my phone. Yeah, the bikes are probably the most popular DLC items, in the game, and it makes sense. No one wants to ride around on, what are the base bikes in the game, the Phoenix and the Rainbow. No one wants to ride on these bikes simply because they just don't even really look that much like real dirt bikes do in real life, at least factory dirt bikes. So yeah, it makes the most sense for why people would be buying the OEM stuff as well. And while I'm here, I might as well go ahead and touch on the rain. The rain system that they added was pretty fucking dope, as I just missed. That was so embarrassing, bro. But yeah, the mud races have been one of the coolest features, I think aesthetically, and even in terms of gameplay, it does make the races a lot more difficult and a lot more fun, on some tracks. And I know we've had mud and rain, obviously, in past MX versus ATV games, but the way they've done it in this game is absolutely insane. I am going to get some footage for y'all. Obviously, I have it up on my channel already, but there's just something about the way they've done it this year with the lightning, and it just looks insane. It is a little unrealistic considering, if it's raining like that, they're not going to let the riders race. But we're here on Thunder Valley, and I'm going to have to wait a minute for the cycle to pick up. But I chose this track because I think for some reason it has the strongest cycle, or at least it looks the craziest. Each track kind of has a different, vibe of a rain. On Redbud, it's kind of foggy and it's hard to see. And on different tracks, it just has a different overall effect. Thunder Valley, it's mainly just crazy lightning and thunder, and this gets really fucking dark. There we go. But I'm not sure what else to highlight in this video about what's made this game so much better. I think the only other thing I could really think of to say is the Pro 2023 and 2022 national tracks have probably been some of the best DLC we've ever received in MX vs. ATV ever. And I know we got it in All Out as well, but there's just something about the way they've done it in this game. especially the 2023 versions, that the physics and just like the overall, direction that they're trying to go with the game, it just makes a lot more sense. And it's just, just fits the game so perfectly, man. And it's just been so much fun. For a casual fan, I consider myself a casual fan when it comes to specifically motocross. This was actually my first year I've watched the entire motocross series, or most of the motocross series. I've watched every supercross series every year my entire life. There's just something that's more entertaining to me about supercross. But it's helped me learn a lot more about these national tracks and motocross in general, and it's helped me want to learn more and just like get more into it. And I think it's just like a good counterpart to the actual series and the real life events. And there is still a long way to go with this game as well, don't get me wrong. We still need way more gear. We still need some more supercross tracks, I think, maybe even some more free ride. So I hope we get that as well for the throwback pack. That's all I really have for this video, guys. I'm going to be coming out with so much more content with MX versus ATV, so just keep subscribing. I want to do some retro like throwback videos, but for some reason you can't record on the cloud streaming shit. It like doesn't let you like record or stream at all, so I'm gonna have to figure something out about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys personally think of this game and how far it's come, because it has come a long fucking way, bro. So I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.